All right. We're going to go into Isaiah chapter 34 and 2 today. We're going to look at it. And before I get started, I just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaChodash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, that do teach well, and that have taught me this truth. To you I say Shalom and Shalom to the hopeful elect. And we're going to go into Isaiah 34 and 2. We're going to examine it today. I got some different precepts that are lined up that go with this verse here. The whole chapter is good, but I just felt like focusing in on the second verse. So anyway, let's get started. This is Isaiah chapter 34 and 2. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath already destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Beautiful. That indignation that it's talking about is anger, wrath, really righteous anger. And it's going to be upon all you other nations, because all you other nations, man, you have taken part in really slandering Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and destroying his people. So you know what that means? That means you have made war with the God of war. And that's rightfully so, because when you go into Exodus 15 and 3, it says the Lord is a man of war. So he's a God of war, a power of war. Right? He loves war. He likes to fight. So you nations, man, you have waged war against Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai by coming up against him and his people. Now let's get Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Beautiful. Right? So he's a man of war. He likes to fight. And you know, the Lord has a lot of weapons in his armory. And those weapons consist of the ICBMs, the chariots, the angels, the 144,000, the elements that are on planet Earth, right? Animals, teeth of wild beasts, you name it. The Lord has a lot of weapons in his armory. But that main weapon that's going to do the bulk of the destruction, that's going to carry out this indignation, is really the ICBM missiles, man. Because all you other nations, man, you're going to fire your ICBMs on each other. Your hypersonic missiles, you name it. The Lord's going to put the spirit on you to destroy yourself. Verse 4, Pharaoh's chariots and his host hath he cast into the sea. His chosen captains also are drowned in the Red Sea. The depths have covered them. They sank into the bottom as a stone. Thy right hand, O Yahweh, has become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Yahweh, hath dashed in pieces the enemy. So you are the enemy. And you're going to be taken down, man. Okay? The Lord is a warrior. And this is New Egypt that we're in. When you go into, I believe it's Revelation 11 and 8. I believe that says this is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Okay, just like how Pharaoh and his chariots fell back then in the ancient world, it's going to fall again in this age. Because America is spiritually Egypt, it's spiritually Sodom. And that's going to play out through Revelation chapter 12, verse 7, the war in heaven, man. And when you go into that verse, it talks about how you're not going to be victorious. You're going to lose miserably. All right, I like this one where it says in verse 5 here, the depths have covered them. They sank into the bottom as a stone. And that's right. And you can go back into that ocean. You can find, or you can go back into the Red Sea, and you can find Pharaoh's chariots, man. They're still there. I believe they found them. That actually happened, man. And one thing, man, every kingdom that came up against Israel, they were never the same after we left, and they never rose back into power. After we left Egypt, Egypt didn't become great again, man. And that's gonna happen again when the fourth beast goes down, which is America. America ain't gonna be a great kingdom after we're delivered. It's gonna be destroyed. And that's a part of the Lord's indignation. How about that? How about that? Verse 6, thy right hand, O Yahweh, has become glorious in power, beautiful, and you're going to see his power. And in the day of the Lord's power, you people will be willing in that day. O Yahweh hath dashed in pieces the enemy. That's right, dash in pieces the enemies. And you know, that reminds me of Daniel, the 2nd chapter. The stone that is cut out without hands is going to destroy that image, that statue. And that statue that Nebuchadnezzar dreamed about is going into the different major kingdoms that ruled, that were very powerful, and that were oppressing Israel. The Lord is going to destroy all those kingdoms, man. And it hit the feet specifically, man, the foundation. And you know what the feet represents? Rome. And who's Rome in the reincarnation? America, the 4th beast. So he's coming for you. He's coming for NATO. He's coming for the EU. He's coming for that beast system, man. Dash you down and dash you into pieces. Break you up. Alright, so let's go back. So we covered the indignation is the Lord's righteous anger, which is nuclear missiles. And they're going to rain upon the other nations primarily. Alright, so let's go into Psalms 83. Why is the Lord angry? Why is he going to bring indignation? It's because you have taken crafty counsel against the Lord's people, man. Right? That's what you did. So the Lord's angry about that. Also, the scriptures say that the Lord is sore displeased with the heathen, man, on how you forward the affliction on the Israelites. A lot of that really goes into post-slavery too, what I think of, man. That goes into post-slavery. A lot of you nations, man, you know that the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that they're Israelites. You know that. You don't tell them, you don't help them out, which you're not supposed to, but you know, you do things to keep them in a lower state, so they stay confused. The Lord's angry about that, man. It also makes me think about post-slavery when you Edomites, man, you started making all these amendments. I believe it's the 14th Amendment. I can't remember if it's the 14th or 13th Amendment. You become a slave if you're incarcerated. That's why you put a lot of Israelites in prison, man, so you can put them back into slavery. You came out with the neo-Nazis, you came out with the KKK during post-slavery to oppress our people, man. Jim Crow laws, you name it, man. The Man's Act, all that bullshit. You're going to pay for that, man. And all the other things that you've done behind the scenes. You're going to pay. You're going to pay, man. So this is Psalms chapter 83, verse 1. A song or psalm of Asaph, keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. Let's make sure this is good. And be not still, O power, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Yeah, and who hates us, man? You other nations, you hate us. You hate us. Yeah, you look at it, like the king of Moab. I'm just thinking about different stories, man. Yeah, the king of Moab. It was Balaam and Balak. You know, the king of Moab at that time, he was he hired a warlock to curse Israel. To curse a whole nation, man. A whole nation. A whole nation. He doesn't know every single person that's in that nation, but he wanted to curse the whole nation entirely. Every single Israelite. The whole nation. That's fucking hate, man. And you people are still doing that to this day, man. Sending up curses, sending up your prayers to your demons, man. Anyways, let's move on. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Crafty counsel. A part of that crafty counsel is going back into the Illuminati. Psalms, the 64th chapter. Going into your secret societies, your secret government agencies, the CIA, KGB, FBI. You know, that reminds me, man, the FBI was watching you Israelites heavily during the 60s and during the early 70s. Reminds me of Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, man, because that chapter is very heavy. It goes into how Israel is blinded, was blinded for a period of time, and how they have awoken, and how they're going to get the kingdom. How they went through different stages of enlightenment while being in America, man. And the FBI, man, you were watching Jake heavily during the 60s and the early 70s, man, because that's when we started to wake up, right? And that's when you started putting drugs in the neighborhood through the CIA, putting drugs in our neighborhood, putting heroin and all these damn heavy drugs, setting up these drug dealers, man. That's a part of that crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's right. You know what that means? It means they don't want you to know that you're an Israelite, and they have hidden the truth. They have done their best. That's why you have the Masoretic text, or the Masoretes, which is the Bible destruction group. They did everything in their power to hide this truth, trying to tamper with the word, trying to change different words in the Bible to throw you off from getting the truth or getting the true understanding. Right? They've done everything in their power to cut you off from being a nation. That's why they give you black conscious, Pan-Africanism, Egyptology. A lot of our people, they're in that garbage, man, thinking that they're Africans, thinking that they're Hamites. But whenever you go to these Hamitic nations, if you were to go to let's just say Somalia or Ethiopia, those people don't like you, man. They have a different spirit. You don't vibe together. And if you do, it's because they're Israelites. Because there's a lot of Israelites among the Ethiopians, the Somalians, right? But anyways, let's move on. They really don't want you to know that you're an Israelite, and they don't want you to come back to your power, which is Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So they don't teach you real history. You know, funny thing, man, when you're in these schools, they don't teach you anything about anything prior to 1492. Nothing. They don't teach you about the Dark Ages. And then when you do take those classes, they're very brief. If you take medieval studies, because I took a course like that in school, they're very brief. They're very vague. They don't go into the material. They don't show you icons. It's just memorization. They give you a textbook, and then you got to remember dates and shit like that. But they don't go into icons. They don't go into anything heavy. They don't show you iconoclasm. They don't teach you that stuff. They don't teach you anything prior to 1492. Why is that? Because we were ruling. So they make it, they do their due diligence, man, to not teach you real history. Anyways, let's move on. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. Yeah, they have consulted together with one consent. So all the nations are in cahoots with each other. That's why they have these different summit meetings, G20, whatever it is, G23, whatever the fuck they call it. You got NATO and the EU. And guess what? You Israelites, you don't have any prominent seats in those summit meetings. You don't have a say of what goes on. And these secret societies. So they have consulted together with one consent, with one mind. They're all of one mind when it comes to keeping you down. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. That's right, you so-called white people, you Arabs, Ishmaelites. It includes the sons of Keturah too. Of Moab, the Chinese and the Hagarenes, Hamites, Gabal and Ammon, Japanese, Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have Holpen, the children of Lot, Salah. So all these people, man, which is all you other nations, man, you're confederate against the Lord's people. And you're going to pay for that. Let me get another precept. This is Zechariah. Zechariah chapter 1, verse 15. Actually, I'll start at verse 14. So the angel that communed with me said unto me, cry thou, saying, thus saith Yahweh of armies, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy, and I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease. And you guys are at ease, man. Living good. living good off of the misery of Jacob. You're at ease, man. All these civil rights, man, that you Israelites fought for, a lot of these nations, man, they benefit off of that, man. You know, racial tolerance in the workplace, you know, equality. You know, that all came from Jake fighting. From our forefathers fighting in the streets, man. Collective bargaining, you know, all these unions. That all goes back to Jake, man. And by the way, the reason why they created unions is really to keep you Israelites out, man. You know, to keep you Israelites out, because when you came out of slavery, you guys were skilled in the trades, man. Because you were building Mass's house, you were in the fields, you knew carpentry, you knew how to weld, you knew how to use metals, right? You guys were skilled. So they didn't want you coming out and making money, so you know they created unions to keep you out. How about that? Right? Yeah, so these heathen nations, man, they're at ease. They come over here, they just set up a business, you know, they just fit right in. They come over here, they rise up greater than you, and rightfully so, because, you know, you Israelites, you have the curses on you. Curses of Deuteronomy 28 and 15 on down. So they just come in, it's just smooth sailing. They get the grants, they get the loans, and they put their kids into school, into college, going into the Ivy Leagues, making millions of dollars, man. For I was but a little displeased, and they helped for the affliction. That's right. You help for the affliction, right beside Esau, and that's why we read Psalms 83rd chapter, man. You know, they make it their due diligence to work with Esau to keep you Israelites down. Why do you think they put Kamala Harris in office? It wasn't really to promote you black people, man. It was to create a bond and a tie with Asia, because they have a whole fucking market over there in India. I believe it's Bangalore. That's the new Silicon Valley, man. So they want to capitalize off of that. Not to help you Jakes, man. So these heathen, they're at ease, man, making money all day. You know, making money all day. Kamala Harris wasn't there to help you black people, man. It was there to create a bond and a tie between India and the United States. That's all that is, to appease them. So verse 16, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, saith the Lord of armies, and a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem. Yeah. All right, let's go into Psalms 2. The reign of the Lord's anointed. That's right, the anointed. Hey, so do you want to be appointed, or do you want to be anointed? Do you want to be appointed by men, or do you want to be anointed by Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai? Man, fuck being anointed by being appointed by men. I want to be anointed by the Lord. I want the oil. And that's what you should be thinking about. You want to be anointed by Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, not appointed. Because being appointed by men doesn't last long. Anyways, Psalm chapter 2 verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Yeah, you know, the heathen rage. You people are imagining vain things. You have vain thoughts in your head. And why is that? Because you've inherited lies over the years, pursuant to the book of Jeremiah. Right? I'm going to get that. But why do the heathen rage, man? You're raging. You're upset. You're angry. You imagine a vain thing. You think that you're going to rule forever. You think a lot of you people think China's going to rule next, when China is moving the exact same way that the United States is moving. And you know what happens? They go into trillions of dollars of debt. The morals and the standards of living go down. Let me get inherited lies, because the reason why you imagine a vain thing is because you inherited lies over these years, thinking that you're great. Inherited lies. This is Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 19. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. That's right, you've inherited lies. What are some of the lies that you've inherited? Oh, you're going to rule forever. China's going to rule next. We are the chosen people, you so-called Jews, you Amalekites. You still believe that to this very day. When your top rulers and your rabbis, they know the deal. They know you're not chosen. They know you go back to the tribe of Amalek, which is one of the dukes of Esau, the dukes of Edom, going back to Genesis the 36th chapter. Posing and fronting like you're something special when you're not special. A lot of you nations, you're going to realize you're not as powerful as you think you are. Vanity, okay, vanity is wickedness and emptiness, and things therein there is no profit. And that backs up Psalms 2. And the people imagine a vain thing. Vanity goes into wickedness and emptiness, man. So verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, yeah, so they're pretty much against the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and his son, and the angels. Got to throw them in there too. They're an extension of the Lord. And against his anointed. And his anointed is the saints, the elect, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. That's right. And the Lord's gonna laugh at you, man, and have you in derision, making you think that you're gonna get away with your crimes. Right? Let me get a precept. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. You think you're going to get away for all the evil that you've done just because you haven't been judged yet. That's why the Lord is sitting up in the heavens laughing. You think you're going to get away with all the wickedness that you've done, when really you just snared yourself, man. You have dug yourself into a big pit. That's all you've done. You've created a system that's going to collapse upon yourself and destroy you. Alright, let me get a precept. Let me get another precept real quick. Psalms 19 and 15, or 15 and 19. Psalms 15, or 9 and 15. I think it's 9 and 15. Yeah, 9 and 15. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid is their own foot taken. That's right. You snared yourself, man. You snared yourself with your own wicked devices. You nations are going to destroy yourself with ICBM nuclear missiles. You're going to destroy yourself by setting up this crappy economy. By the way, there is going to be an economic collapse in the United States. Anyways, that's another story. Kind of all over the place. So, verse 4, it says, he that sitteth in the heaven shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yeah, so he's going to destroy you. Going back to indignation and righteous anger. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord has said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. That's going to happen in the kingdom. Through Yahushai and through King David. Okay? Because there's going to be order, there's going to be a rank and file in the kingdom of heaven. You're going to have Yahushai being the top king, and then King David under him. He's going to reign on earth. Alright, so let's go into Revelation 12. It's part of the Lord's indignation, right? the angel Michael, Revelation chapter 12 and 7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Now, heaven is going into their rulership, them being in a position of power, them being at ease. And the great dragon, right, was cast out, and that's going into Esau and the system, that beast system, great dragon, NATO and the EU, that Esau sits upon. They're going down, that system. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So there's going to be no more deception. And you can go into Revelation 20 and 7, talks about how you devils, you were set up to deceive the whole world. So your time of deceiving the world is come to an end. The Lord's going to take you down. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of judges thereof. Right? That precept goes along with that as well. The Lord gave you this earth in your hand to deceive and to destroy it, but that's only for a period of time. Also, you can go into 2nd Esdras 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So there's a time that Esau Edom has to rule the earth, and he has a time to deceive the whole earth. But that time is up. That time is up. It's coming to an end. All right, so yeah, that war in heaven is a battle between the chariots of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and Esau's chariots, his fighter jets, his tanks, his missiles. They're all going to try and fight the Lord when he comes back. All right, let's move on. So this is Isaiah chapter 63 verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? Bozrah is a chief city in Edom, and that represents America, that great big city. It says, with dyed garments, that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. And that's talking about the Lord coming back in these ships, cracking them skies, coming back with an army of chariots and angels. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. And that's what he's coming back to do. He's coming back to save the Lord. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth the wine fat. And that's symbolic to how much killing that he's going to do. That's why it says his garments are red. It's just symbolic of how much killing he's going to do when he comes back. That's a part of the Lord's indignation. He's going to kill a lot of people over here in Babylon the Great. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in mine anger and trample them in my fury. And that's a part of the indignation, trampling them in fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. So that's not nice, man. This is what the Lord's going to do. That doesn't sound good, man. He's going to get bloody, man. Okay, and that's symbolic to how much killing he's going to do. He's not going to actually get dirty. He's a priest, right? He's not going to get dirty. He's going to kill people. Now you can go into 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter. Okay, that's not for me. You can go into 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, and the 9th verse on down talks about that. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart. So the Lord's thinking about this. He's thinking about what he's going to do when he comes back. And it's about vengeance. So he's meditating terrors. He's just thinking about how he's going to destroy you people, how it's going to play out in his mind, and how he's going to see it, right? Because the Lord's a visionary. Because the Lord is a prophet, right? Yahushua is a prophet. So he has the vision. He's seeing it all play out. He's meditating terrors, man. And he's seeing how you people are going to drop dead, man. That's how he's looking at it. And the year of my redeemed is come. And he's going to make his big debut. Everybody's going to see it. Anyways, let's get Second Ezra's. Actually, I'll read this one. I'll read this one first, then get Second Ezra's. This is Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword, the Lord Yahweh will plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. That's right. Coming back with his chariots, and coming back with the ICBM missiles, man. Because they're going to bring fire. And it's going to kill a lot of people. That's why it says, the slain of the Lord shall be many. Nuclear missiles will destroy a lot of people. Right? You can go into, what is it? I think it's 2 Peter's 3 and 10. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. It's going into nuclear destruction. Malachi 4 and 1, nuclear destruction. And there's many others. There's one in Zechariah, I believe. It goes into them, their eyes being burnt out, their holes. I wonder if I can find that. Yeah, Zechariah chapter 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult for the Lord Yahweh shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. That's right. So, point was made in verse 12. And that's actually going to happen. Right. You being consumed away by fire while you stand on your feet. Your flesh being blown off of your bones, man. Let me get something here. I wonder if they have it on the website. Probably have the icon, because this is something that we use. I don't think they have it. Oh, yeah, they might. See, yeah, that's it. Get ready for your future nuclear fire and eternal slavery. All right. So that's Zechariah 14 and 12. That's just a nice picture or illustration. You know, your flesh being burned off, like Sarah Connor. Your eyes being consumed. All right. Not just white folks, everybody that's going to be caught up into it, but primarily you Edomites. Right? Anyways, let's go into the last verse. Let's go into 2 Ezra 13 and 9. See if we can get that. 2 Ezra 13 and 9. Alright. There we go. So, actually, the whole thing's good. Hold on. Alright, yeah, let's just read the whole thing. I'll read till 10, I guess. So this is 2 Ezra chapter 13 and 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. It's talking about the Lord and the angels coming back, and those ships making their big debut, man, cracking them skies. That's why them ships, when they come in, they move all the waves. You know, making gusts of wind, cracking them skies, man. Alright, so verse 4. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of the heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. Which, when it means coming out of the sea, it means coming out of space. right, coming out of space. That's likened unto a sea. And this is a great army, so all the world's forces, they're going to come together to fight Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and the angels. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, which is, that great mountain is a ship, the Father ship, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet there's fight. So they were afraid of him, but they still fought him. They put the spirit on him. The Lord put the spirit on them to fight Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, to fight Yahushai, Salakia. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire. That's going into lasers, man. Concentrated heat coming out of the mouth of the ship. Think about your movies like War of the Worlds, Independence Day. Where do you think they get that from? They get that from the Bible, the scriptures. And out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Concentrated heat, concentrated fire. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest. Going back to Isaiah 66 and 15. And fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one. So everybody died. Nobody was spared. It's part of the Lord's indignation, okay? So that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. There you go, man. So yeah, I'll be afraid too. Get vaporized. That's crazy, man. This is all written in the scriptures, and you know, when you talk about these things, people think it's make belief. But guess what? Your different directors, man, they make movies about this, and they make millions of dollars. But you people still think it's fake. Why are you so drawn to it? Why are people so drawn to going to the movies and watching things like that play out? It's not just for entertainment. It's not make believe. It's a spiritual thing. Why do you think people are drawn to the movies when it comes to spaceships and stuff that has to do with space, angels and gods? Why do you think people are drawn to that? Because it's freaking real. It's true. So keep thinking it's a joke, man. You know, your directors, your producers, they're inspired by the Lord, the scriptures, the Bible. James Cameron, Spielberg, what's his name? Spielberg. They're all inspired, man. So anyways, with that, I just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone GMS. To you I say Shalom. Shalom.